What's Chin Ludes, is Torbo here, and welcome back to Skyblock, episode 59. Geez, already 2 videos in 2019, we're a little bit of a consistent schedule right now. Let's hope we can keep it up as long as possible. Alright, let's get straight into the episode because there will be a ton of things that I do want to do. In particular, we want to work on that village over there, get a bit of a start, but also one other project which I'll talk about in a second. Before we get into any of it, I just wanted to mention that I do play in this world as a single player, so you might see certain things change like this. For example, this entrance never used to be here. There will be things that do tend to change from time to time that you might never notice because I just play in this world. I just do as I will, really. If it's small projects, then I don't tend to highlight it too much, but I'll just quickly run through some of the smaller stuff that I do, just so you guys aren't fully like out of the loop. Like, for example, I don't think I've ever mentioned about this whole stone floor thing. Like, a little bit back, I figured that when I was making the stone generator, that this was all void, and I wasn't quite comfortable with how much void there was. So we've just got a bit of a stone floor over here. I have no idea what to do with it, but I just wanted to fill out the void and stuff. So a couple of stuff like that. One big thing which I have done is that the storage room from up there. Can we see it from up here? The storage room is normally up there, but it's getting a little bit crowded. Like, I don't have too many chests in the area. I've actually built in this area, so this is basically right next to the automatic tree farm. Underneath here is going to be a new storage room. I might use this more frequently than the one upstairs. I'll get to that one in a second, but I'm starting to shift some stuff here, mine a lot of stone. It's really easy to mine the stone with the furnace right there. Wood, starting some flora, but there's not much in there. I'll just head up there. This is right next to the cake factory, by the way, that we built last episode. So if we go up this ladder, then this comes up to the falling point in the big tower. I never really highlight the tower too much. I like to go through this tower every once in a while and not go through that slime elevator. But on this wall, there are signs for people who tend to leave their comments in the question of the day responses. So if you guys leave something, then I'll leave you a sign here just as part of this world. I've only, as you see, gone up to episode 53, so I'll have to double check what the last 5 episodes are and if anyone needs to be added on here. But these are just some of the people who have been as a part of this world in the last 4.5 years. And then there's one more up here, which is the very top, from everyone from the beginning and stuff. And yeah, so over here, this is the storage room. As you can see, there are only like 11 chests in here. And then the furnaces I called right furnace and left furnace and whatnot. Glass, all of the stuff here, valuables. So I'll probably move some stuff down there and here and there. Yeah, just some quick stuff. A couple other things. I finished up the design on this bridge over here, so there's less slime blocks. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly mention it because I do stuff like that outside of the episode. But that's outside of the episode. We're in the episode now. What are we going to be doing in this episode? I wanted to actually quickly highlight over here. This is actually a couple of years back I created a bit of a bulletin board as to what I wanted to do in this world, and there will be more stuff that I want to add onto here, but this is some of the big stuff. We'll get to some of that stuff in a second. Artificial village we've got designs on, so when we go over there. Nether Fortress. Now that's one that's bugged me for a while. And the reason why it's bugged me in a while is I'll head over to the Nether now, but I made a Nether Fort, like I made a bit of a farm to kill wither skeletons and blazes, but it was never automatic. The thing about making an automatic blaze farm is that if you want to actually get... Oh, by the way, that's the pigman donut that we fixed up last episode, and then this is a similar design to the other minecart, which takes us to where the artificial village is just going to be. This will take us to the location of the Nether Fortress. An issue with making an automatic Nether Fortress, blaze farm or whatever, is that the only way to get blaze rods is you have to kill the blazes manually. When it comes to killing wither skeletons, they can be killed by a drop, for example, and they will drop their coal, and that's the sort of stuff I want. So I can get coal blocks, I can use coal blocks for building and stuff, but I do want blaze rods because I think blaze rods would be helpful. But the problem is that you need to kill them manually. I have created a farm, so I'm just going to head over to creative and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Welcome everybody to the creative world, and this is where I've designed a pigman farm. And it does have the additional benefits of actually dropping the blazes. So this is the idea which I had for the Skyblock. Oh, by the way, looking around here, so there used to be a lot of land in this Nether, but I had to clear it out. I didn't realize the MC edit wasn't updated for 1.13, so I had to clear it all through command blocks. You can see some of the patchy jobs I've done, and random holes in the ceiling, but yeah, cleared it enough so we can actually spawn some pigmen with some additional blazes. So this is the idea I had. So I'm thinking maybe 3 by 3 of these modules. So each of these will be 30 pistons long. They'll be controlled by tripwire inside of them. Hello baby pigmen. Don't really care about you, so you're fine to stay there. So these would be 3 high for the wither skeletons, of course. It does actually spawn endermen in here, which I'm very confused why endermen spawn in the Nether. But what have you? It's probably one of those updates which I've missed out over the years. But yeah, this works really well, especially in a case like Skyblock where you don't need to worry about any spawning spaces. This would work remarkably well. They would all drop these guys about 45 blocks high because endermen only die after 45 blocks. And then over here it would let the blazes live. So the ideal would be that there'd only be 3 things that could theoretically live, which would be magma slimes, pigmen on the baby pigmen on the chickens, and blazes. And then you've got a hole here. I've got a hole here with like trapdoors, which would allow the other two to just walk on the trapdoors and fall down and die, essentially, leaving only the blazes. And then with the blazes still around, we can just go around with our diamond sword. If we do need blaze rods for whatever reason, for like, I don't know, magma blocks or something, then we can kill them like that. You heard an enderman just die there, and it drops it all here. This actually does work really well. So, like the drops in here, for example, I'll only stay here for a certain amount of time, and then this will actually be very efficient. So this might actually replace the other pigment farm that we've got. But yeah, this is the idea I had. Now there will be a lot of work involved, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Alright, we're back in the Skyblock world. Now there are a few issues. First thing is that if you notice with the minecart rail that this bridge is slightly incomplete. We've got all the main infrastructure down, but huge problem is that there's actually no glass on top of this cobble, so all of these pigmen are spawning. We'll have to deal with it eventually before we deal with the Nether Fortress. 2 other big problems. One is that if you have been watching this series for a while, then in the first, I think 5 or 10 episodes or so, the way I went to go find the Nether Fortress is by building these long cobblestone pathways as along here. They've been slabbed so ghast can't spawn, so I never really feel pressed to deal with them. But they are going to get in the way, and they are going to spawn pigmen like that, for example. I've never gotten around to dealing with them, so it is going to have to be the time that I am going to have to clear this, unfortunately. There are quite a lot. Oh, that is going to be a pain as well, dealing with the blazes. Oh, alright. I'll deal with it as well. Third big problem is that I don't actually know where the Nether Fortress bounty box is. Like, this box was built where we had some wither skeletons and blazes spawn, but with that it's not exact, so I would like to get the spawning platform as exact as possible to maximize the spawns, of course. But I will need to actually figure out where it is, so with that I'm probably going to have to tear this down and test exactly where the right spawning places are. All of it is going to take a bit of time, which is going to be perfect for the question of the day stuff. So I'm going to time-lapse some of this stuff into a little bit of a montage. And yeah, I'll probably be playing for the next hour or 2 or 3, or I actually have no idea how it's going to take. But I'll see you guys in a sec. I'll get most of this done. Not the bridge. The bridge is going to take ages. I might leave it alone, but I'll do the other stuff. I'll see you in a sec. Alright, question of the day. Let's get into it. So episode 58's question of the day was, how's your New Year resolution going? For anyone watching in the future, this has been recorded in April, so it's been a few months or so since the New Year. I have been following through with my resolutions. I don't really have any resolutions. I've got a bucket list. My resolution, I would say, is that I'm planning not to drink any coffee or alcohol for the year. I don't know how long it's going to go for, but I haven't drank anything so far, so I'm pretty good on that one. And then I've got a couple other things on the bucket list, like general goals that I want to achieve, like I want to run a half marathon, which means I should be doing more exercise. Nice bucket list to do. Another one, having a look, learn side stroke. If you guys aren't aware, there is a fifth swimming. So you've got freestyle, butterfly, you've got backstroke, and you've got breaststroke. And then there's a number 5, which is the side stroke, which is what police have to do in order to pass their exams and stuff. So that's on my list to learn for no other practical reason other than I just want to learn side stroke. Yeah, it'll be weird, but I'll figure it out sometime later this year. Anyway, that's enough about me. Let's figure out what you guys have to say. A couple responses. So the first one is from Chipmunk Rave, who says, well, to begin with, I'll read the entire comment. I found your channel after wanting to watch a Skyblock Let's Play, and I love your content. Keep up the amazing work. I watched 43 of the Season 3 Skyblock, still on that grind. Thank you very much, Chipmunk. Definitely appreciate it. It honestly blows my mind that a lot of people do start from the beginning of Skyblock and end up to the latest episode, which is 59 now. So, yeah, thank you. Very touched. Answer for the question of the day. I never follow through with a resolution ever in my life. Maybe that can be a resolution to follow through with resolutions. What I would say with resolutions is you don't necessarily need to complete it, but it goes back to that old saying where if you shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you land among the stars. If you have a resolution and you start to follow through and you feel like that's something that you want to try and achieve, then even if you don't quite hit it, then at least you made some progress towards it, and you figure you made some progress towards something that you wanted to do eventually. So you don't need to do it within a set time frame of a year or so, but if you start even for a couple of months or so and you figure out it's not exactly what you wanted, well, that's fine, goals change. Or even if you still want to continue it, but you don't continue through with the resolution, then you've made a good head start and you can pick up where you left off later. That is a bit of a ramble. I'm terribly sorry, but yeah, thank you so much for your comment, Chipmunk. And we'll get on to the second one. Second one is from Brett Rose. Brett Rose, you're still around. Good on you, mate. Question of the day answer, I never do New Year's. Why does no one do resolutions? Okay. Brett Rose, similar to what I said to Chipmunk, I think you should at least, well, it doesn't, what works for me doesn't necessarily work for everyone. I like to have a bit of a short-term goal and a long-term goal, and even if I don't hit the short-term goal, I don't beat myself up over it. I'll just move on with my life. I won't hassle myself over and over and over about it. I think it's just to have a good sense of where you're going, and my short-terms are the New Year resolutions, my long-terms are the 5-10 years time. But my gosh, you guys don't have any goals that you set towards. And those are the two comments. So apparently no one's following through with the resolutions right now apart from me. Well, that sounds about right. Maybe I'm just a bit of a different egg in the garden. Alright, we'll get back to the Skyblock episode. Take it away, past Torbury. Thanks for the question of the day, future Torbury. You did well. Alright, this is a new recording day. All of it was taking a bit of time, so I've just gone back into it today. One thing before we get back into what I've done so far is that I want a name for the Nether City, because over here, for example, all of this area is called Slimepunk City. It was named by Terraria Gaming, so I built a little monument down there, and that's just to indicate this is all called Slimepunk City. I was thinking about it. We'll leave that alone. I don't know what that's called. It's just a Skyblock island, I guess. Over there, once we build this, the city over there and the islands and whatnot, I want a name for that, but I'll get a name for it in a second. The Nether. Now, I don't have a name for it, and that's where you guys come in. If you have any suggestions for a name, I'd be happy to pick one in the comments. If you do pick one, then I'll add a bit of a monument, probably there. Similar sort of magenta monument there, and we'll name it according to whatever one of you guys say in the comments. So, hopefully you guys have a bit of a suggestion for me, and you can be a part of the history of this world. Alright, so what have I done? Well, you saw in the montage that I've destroyed all of the one-wide bridges, which was incredibly nerve-wracking, by the way. I tried to build everything super wide so I don't have to look in the void and think I'm going to fall down. So the fact I was on one-wide bridges, potentially be knocked off by pigmen or get knocked off by a blaze or a skeleton, a little nerve-wracking, but we got rid of all of it. Thank goodness. I've also built along this magenta walkway as well. Took quite a bit of glass, but it's been randomized with pink and magenta and purple, so it's all along here. It is going to take a lot more glass, and my villagers are going to require more paper to keep the glass production going, so I don't actually have enough glass, so this is all I've come up with so far. And as I said before I was going to go into the montage, I've actually started trying to figure out where exactly the spawning spaces are. Oh, okay, so that all of it is the a spawning space. So previously I've put down birch slabs down here. That was just to remove all the spawning spaces, but now I'm trying to use the slime blocks to sort of segregate exactly which parts are Nether Fortresses and which not. So over here, for example, everything cobblestone, I knew that was Nether Fortress spawning, so I labelled it cobblestone and I moved the slime blocks over. So it looks like this sort of stuff over here is also Nether Fortress. So we'll just kill this blaze. Please don't shoot any. Ow! You're not burning anything, are you? Okay, we're good. I know there's a wither skeleton over here. Dang it! There's a blaze shooting me. That wither skeleton couldn't do anything because it was a too high ceiling. How are we going to deal with you? I don't want to hit the pigmen, because that would be a pain. If you're notice over there, I wasn't able to finish the glass, so because of that, there are actually pigmen spawning spaces over there, which is very annoying. Alright, so over here, I will put down cobblestone, make sure I stop spawning, but I know at least these are the spawning spaces. Can you get off here, pigmen, please? Thank you. I'll get rid of the baby pigmen. I'll move the slime blocks a little bit outwards to see whether we can get more indication as to where the spawning spaces are, but at the very least we'll make sure all of this is labelled as spawning spaces. And I'm just going to keep doing that. I'll just quickly chuck that there. So I've also got a space above here just to test. It doesn't look like any of this is spawning, so this must be a little bit too high for the Nether Fortress. So I'm going to guess that here is fine for spawning. Now, there's going to be an interesting part. I don't know exactly how I'm going to handle it. I'll figure out in a second. The thing is that Nether Fortresses obviously go down to the lava level, which is Y31. I am going to have to go down and check the spawning spaces below this if I'm wanting, say, a 3 high mob spawner. But if I'm to do that, I'm going to have to build underneath this. So how am I going to build underneath this is a question which I've had. One or two things. One is the only way I go down in the main Skyblock island on the overworld is using water. If I use the water, then I can swim down and build underneath it. And over here, obviously, water's not going to work. A while back, I used the enchanted golden apple, the big 8 gold blocks to get fire resistance, and with the fire resistance, I swam down and used that like a water bucket, and I built down there so I could have a little bit of a platform there. So we have a couple of options. One is I could build all the way from this cobblestone over to there and then use that as the basis. I'm not really a fan of it because it means it will be floating blocks down in the void. The other option, which is a little bit easier is I can just point a piston pointing down and just push blocks downwards that way. I'm probably going to do that one instead, because I'm not really going to need to go down too much. But anyway, this is going to be my plan for the next hour, 2 hours or so. So I'll get back to you once I've gotten a little bit more done. See you in a sec. Alright, it's been some time. I've pretty much done everything I wanted to do for the Nether Fortress this episode, so we'll leave it alone and we'll work on the other village in a second once I show you the progress. A couple of things. First, one of the skeletons actually dropped an enchanted bow, so I've got an enchanted bow now. If you see here. Oh, what's this? With a skeleton skull on my head. I have no use for wither skeleton skulls. I need soul sand in order to make a wither, so I have no use for it whatsoever. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'll put it on like the monument or something when we make the Nether City monument, whatever this is going to be named. Yeah, so I was testing the bounding box and then I realised that as I was filling it up, pretty much all of this was Nether Fortress, so I'm just going to go off the fact that I think that everything is Nether Fortress based, and I'll confirm it. Hopefully a blaze will spawn there at some point so I can confirm all of it is Nether Fortress, which is quite lovely. So I went with the piston method of just going up and down and pushing cobblestone downwards. So I've actually started building a bit of a spawning place underneath it, so I'm starting to build rows of 30 blocks along. We'll do 30 on top there, 30 down there, and then we'll do one more layer underneath, and it would hopefully do all 30, and then from there we'll have to start building a bit of a catcher, a mob drop area from down below at like Y1 or something. Like 45 blocks from the layer below, that'd be about Y10 or something, so we're not really going to have a lot of space for the mobs to drop, but that'll be super fun. And then we could do a little bit more cool things to get up and down and start building a bit of a proper base around the Nether. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover with the Nether Fortress per se. We'll do a quick bit more. We'll do a little bit on the village. By the way, this run over here is beautiful. I love how beautiful this looks. This is going to be a nice little city. I do plan on adding stuff at some point. What I would plan to do then, once I get more blazes, is I'd start to making magma creams. Obviously with the magma creams then you make magma blocks, and then with the magma blocks we can start building with that block around this place. So there are plans for this area. It's just I've not really gotten around to doing it because there's quite a few other things to do in this world. There's always quite a bit. But yeah, that's enough Nether stuff for now. We'll do a little bit on the village. Ooh, was it an iron golem? Hello! You can suffocate there. Oh, that iron golem is still working. One thing I'll eventually do is rebuild that whole iron farm. It's on my bucket list of things to do. Right, the village. So, what I would plan to do, nothing major. I just want to start building a bit. We'll just use an ender pearl to get over to the other side. A bit of an entrance area. Like, if you didn't catch last episode, so this is where this whole rail goes, and then we'll start to build a bit of an artificial village here out of islands and whatnot. I kind of want to make a reception area, so I don't want this to be exactly where the village is. I want this to be a bit of a run around area, so this can be a bit of a, I guess, a crafting area, a bit of a army base. So from here we can start building the islands and stuff. One thing which I also wanted to do, tell you what, I'm just going to cut here. I'll be back in a sec. I'll show you what I mean in a sec. Alright, back in a sec. Alright, this is kind of what I wanted to do. Kind of, not really. By the way, this isn't going to be stone slabs. This is just what I decided to build with. I thought about building everything with cobble, but I thought that looked a little bit too boring. So, this is a draft. It's not perfect. The idea I'm having is that if we end up here, then we'll have the islands actually on this side, on the right hand side. So up here we'll ignore the ugly arches. Again, not perfect, it's not the final thing. We'll run along here and then we'll get to this area. So this would be a little bridge. I'm thinking maybe a glass bridge over the void. Sounds dangerous, but we have a glass bridge over the void. I'm sure that would not look scary whatsoever. Over here, this would be where the first island would be, so this would be the big main island. Then underneath it, I think we'll have some stone. Not stone, snow. What am I talking about? Stone. I think I'm going to have some snow. Reason why, if you watched last episode, you saw all of the villagers falling off the islands because the villagers are derpy and they decide to jump off islands. I would like to save as many as possible. What I would hope is that we have these big islands, and if they fall into the water. Then at some point we can go rescue them. We have certain points where they can go wander into, and then it brings them back up into the island. That way we don't have to constantly keep breeding the villagers and stuff. That would be the plan. And then episode 60 will probably be when I get your guys' suggestions on the city. I'm not taking any suggestions right now, but we'll put a name on the city here. We'll have a similar monument over here, and then we'll put the name of whoever names the city. So keep that in mind for episode 60. Episode 59, of course, we're getting the name for the Nether city, of course. Right, with all of that being said and done, I don't want to end off this episode without a thumbnail-worthy thing to put in. I don't know what to put in as a thumbnail, so I'm going to imagine that I want to make an island. We'll start on actually adding one of those islands. So let me grab some birchwood. I'm going to do one more cut, and at the end of this cut I'll show you what the design is for one of the new islands over there. So yeah, I'll be back with you guys in one final cut. Alright, just finishing up the final touches on kind of about half of the first island or so. Let's do that. This looks very silly, but I will get it fixed in a second, and you'll see the true brilliance of what I'm trying to achieve. So that one will go like that. One issue when you are building with mushroom blocks is that if you put two blocks right next to each other, and then you take one out later, like if I put these two blocks together and then I take one out, then this block here will have this face always exposed until you break it later. So that's something which I'm being extra careful to not have two blocks next to each other and then break one and then have one as an exposed face, because that's not going to look good at all. That's not the image you're trying to achieve. I think that should do it. Awesome, yay! That actually looks really cool. So this is actually the island. I'll show you the underneath from afar first. So if we go from over here, a bit of a lookout, then I expanded the snow a little bit. I imagine that we're going to be needing more snow, so might as well expand it a little bit more, as we need more water there to catch the villagers. But yeah, this is the island as well. So that's all birch logs. I got it all from the automatic tree farm. Over there we've got a little bit of a house underneath the mushroom. The mushroom is lit up by the glowstone, as you saw. So over here, nothing much in it. We'll probably sort some stuff out later as villagers come in, but this is going to be one of our standard villager houses going forward. And yeah, I mean, underneath, for everything that's not a part of the island itself, it looks pretty flat, but that's something that we can address later. I'd rather build the villager houses first and then we build onto it and make it look a little bit nicer. But yeah, I like that. It's actually quite easy to build, because underneath, as long as we're building the snow bits on the bottom, then we can use the slime blocks to build up and build the underside of it. So actually relatively easy to do. Awesome. Well, all it will be is we'll need to build a few more houses and then figure out how big we want the water to go and how we get the FA4, bring it back up, and then we can start bringing some villagers over and we can make a proper village where they can start breeding and whatnot. But yeah, I think that about does it. I think we've done some good progress, guys. So that's episode 59. Make sure to let me know what name you want for the Nether City, but I'll end it off here. And I hope to see you guys for episode 60. Oh, by the way, for every 10 episodes of Skyblock, there's a world download. So I'll arrange for a world download to be happening at the end of episode 60. So you can look forward to that if you like to look forward to the world downloads. But I'll get that sorted. But yeah, we'll end things off here, and hopefully I can get some responses for what you want the name for the next Nether City to be. But I'm off. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have yourself a good day. Take care. I'll see you when I see you. Cheers. Bye.